Hi there, I'm Scott Lowe with ActualTech Media. I'm here today with Ellen Rubin, the CEO of ClearSky Data. Ellen, thank you for having us here today.
Good to have you guys.
So tell us about ClearSky Data's value proposition. Tell us about what you do for your customers.
Sure. We have a fully managed service for enterprises that want to be able to take on the great things about the cloud for agility and capacity on demand and being able to scale and grow, but they really can't give up the things that they need for their storage. And we really started out focused on primary storage in terms of making it feel like you had a traditional storage array, but yet with all the benefits of the cloud that we managed as an SLA-based service for our customers. And more recently, we've announced that we've added data protection capabilities to it, where now we can handle not only the high performance and low latency of the primary stuff, so analytics and kind of virtualized workloads, SQL, Oracle, but also now to be able to include offsite backup and disaster recovery as part of the service. And the most important thing is that the customer really only pays for what they need, and they only pay for one copy of the data, so there's no replication, there's no multiple rounds of infrastructure or backup licenses, DR, secondary gear, and stuff like that. It's all in one included, and wherever you need to access the data from, it's available through the ClearSky service.
I think that's one of the really interesting things you mentioned is this is a storage as a service offering. This is not go buy an array, this is not go to the cloud.
Absolutely.
And that's pretty powerful for people. What's the customer feedback been on this particular type of offering?
Well, all of our customers who are either sort of mid-sized enterprises up into very large enterprises are in a very similar transition where they're adopting the cloud, but they have a tremendous amount of stuff that's still on-prem. They could be in multiple data centers, and for everything that they do, they sometimes will have both backup and even a disaster recovery site. So it's very complex, and then you add the cloud into it with public cloud, and yet it's even more complex because now you have all these silos of data and different management interfaces and vendors and all that. So it's really complex. And I think that the idea that you could bring all that together and have someone as a single vendor provide you with that service with an SLA-based approach where you don't touch infrastructure and you are not expanding racks of gear all over physical data centers, and yet you can have all of the things that you love about the cloud, that's really unique, and so far we don't really see anybody trying to do that.
So they get the things they love about the cloud, but they don't get the things they don't like. So one of the big things is you know where your data is. Data locality is a critical issue.
For sure.
And you've solved that largely with this solution.
Definitely. Well, there's many layers of the problem for enterprises. There's security, encryption, key management, and we take care of all of that, and we are in the process of completing a SOC 2 audit. We're very far along in terms of that piece of it because we already have healthcare customers like Partners Healthcare and some financial services customers that we're not naming yet. So we have very demanding customers. So there's sort of the security and the fact that these customers have heavy compliance needs, but there's also the fact that there's a concern about where is my data going.
Right.
So in our case, there is an architecture that we've developed where we're delivering things out of physical data centers, co-location sites that are heavily networked in metro centers. And these are tier 3, tier 4 data centers, and there's a piece that sits in the customer's environment. We back end to the public cloud, but we're really clear to the customer about where the data is going to be and what's happening. And there's a lot of audits and tracking of who has access and all that good stuff. But in the end, the customer really wants to not have any additional concerns as they move things off-prem.
So they're actually putting their data somewhere where they know where it is in one of your POPs, basically, and you're actually running private lines between the sites, between their sites and your sites, so that there's not even a public internet piece of this that could be compromised.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the network lines are like an Achilles heel sometimes for cloud adoption. So when my co-founder Laz and I started the company, we were very much focused on this idea of a network approach to primary storage. And it's not something that people maybe have thought about in a long time, but in fact, there's a tremendous amount of fiber in the ground at the metro level, Metro Ethernet, and it's actually pretty cost effective and very accessible. And our customers are in data centers, so we're not dealing with people with server closets, it's not that customer, but the connectivity from the sites that we have in these different metro centers in Boston and New York and Ashburn, they all have incredible network connectivity to the public cloud as well. And so what it allows us to do is to really both isolate and protect the customer, but also to deal with issues around latency, which is a huge problem, right? I mean, if you go over the internet, you could have something that's 10 milliseconds or it could be 100 milliseconds, you don't know.
Right. Ellen, thank you very much.
Nice to talk to you, thanks.